the type to care, 'cause I've got a pocket full of dreams. It's my universe, even with an empty purse, 'cause I've got a pocket full of dreams. I wouldn't take the wealth of Wall Street for a road where nature trod, and I calculate I'm worth my weight in goldenrod. Lucky, lucky me, I can live in luxury, 'cause I've got a pocket full of dreams. Well, there's just a fun little song to start off our video. I honestly couldn't think of any songs that had anything to do with what we're doing today, which is making peanut butter cookies. There was the song Peanut Butter by the Marathons back in the 1960s, I believe it was. You could probably Google that if you want to hear it. But anyway, let's get on with our video. Before we start baking, we had some mail. The first one is from Cynthia, who, if you remember a few videos back, a while back, Cynthia was the winner of the watercolor that I had in my giveaway back then. And she sent me this beautiful handmade thank you card. I did do a post on this, some of you may have seen it, but on the back it says handmade by Cindy M. So Cindy, thank you so much. And inside it says, Ian, thank you. Just wanted to say thank you for the giveaway. God bless, Cindy M. Well, thank you, Cindy. It's a beautiful card. It's almost worth framing. I like that. And our second piece of mail is from Donna at Dream Creations. Oh, she sent me a couple of her stickers. You can see that. So we'll put one of those up on our friends board downstairs in my office. And there's a note here that says, Smile! Hello, Ian. I enjoy watching you and all the fun you bring into life, as well as the tasty goodness. You are a blessing, Donna, from Dream Creations and Adventures. So do that, you can see that. Well, thank you, Donna. That's lovely to get into here. Always need an encouraging word now and then to keep us on track. So thank you to both Cindy and Donna. I'll treasure both of those. All right, let's get to our baking today. As you can see, I've got my trusty magical musical mixer out. We'll be using that in just a little bit. But first, we're going to do, we're going to do our dry ingredients. So you're going to want a small bowl, and into that bowl you're going to put a cup and 1/4 of flour. I'm just using all-purpose flour. It's fine. You're going to add to that a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then you're going to add my secret ingredient. Okay? Make sure nobody's listening. Don't want anybody else to find out. It's a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. You don't want any more than that because you don't want the nutmeg to overwhelm the peanut butter flavor, but you want just enough to enhance it. So then we're going to whisk together our dry ingredients. We want those to be all well blended together. And we'll set that aside. And now we want our magical mixer back. And into the mixer you're going to add 1/2 cup of butter. Now you could use margarine, but I find for these cookies, the flavor's so much better with butter. you're going to want half of a cup of brown sugar. Now you want it to be packed, so packed half cup of brown sugar. You want 1 egg. You want half a teaspoon of vanilla. And the price of vanilla, you want to make sure you get it all in there. And then, oh, there's the oven. I had to preheat the oven to 350 degrees. It's ready. But then, the all-important ingredient, peanut butter. And for that, you want 3/4 of a cup. Preferably at room temperature. So if you keep your peanut butter in the fridge, as my mother used to do, you're going to want to take it out well ahead of time so it can soften up. And you want to try and get as much of that as you can, get all of that peanut buttery goodness into your cookies. Alrighty, once you've got everything in there, then you can turn on your magic mixer. Once you've got that well blended together, you can start adding your dry ingredients. Now, you don't want your mixer going too fast for this, or you're going to have a big puff of flour flying up into the room. The only thing I find with this type of a mix master is you can't scrape the sides as easily as you can with one where the bowl rotates, because with the bowl rotating you can put your spatula in the side and scrape it off as you go. But with this type of mixer, you pretty much have to stop the mixer and clean everything down into the center. For this KitchenAid, which I like, I used to have an old-fashioned Sunbeam. It was, the old, like your mother had. And there we go. It's ready to form into cookies.
as much of that off the beater as we can here. And we'll move our magical mixer to the side because we're done using it. Alright, so we've got our peanut butter cookie dough ready to go. And what you will need now is a couple of ungreased cookie sheets. Now, the recipe calls for ungreased, but I'm putting parchment paper in the bottom of mine. And the reason for that is my cookie sheets are getting really old, and the bottom of the cookie sheet, the surface where you put the cookies, is starting to get a little rough. So even though the cookies have enough oil in them, you can use an ungreased sheet, sometimes they tend to stick. So I'm putting parchment paper in the bottom of mine. You can do likewise if you wish. Now, we'll assume you've washed your hands. We're going to start forming our cookies. So just roll your cookie into small balls, about probably inch and a quarter in diameter. Well, as you can see now, I've got 203 cookies out of this. I could probably make a few of these a little smaller and get probably 2.5 dozen cookies, but who wants small cookies, right? Anyway, you should get at least 2 dozen cookies, maybe 2.5 dozen cookies out of this. If you like really small cookies, you could probably squeeze out 3 dozen. But now we need to do that all-important thing. Everybody knows a peanut butter cookie by the fork marks. Oh, there we go. They're all crisscross forked, and we're ready to put them in the oven. So you want your oven preheated to 350 degrees, and you're going to bake them for 9 to 10 minutes, depending on your oven. In my oven, it's 10 minutes. Set our timer for 10 minutes. And we'll come back and see how they turn out. Now, of course, in that 10 minutes while your cookies are baking, there's all kinds of things you can do, like clean up all the dishes from mixing and preparing the dough. And so that's what I've done. Sort of tidied things up. I used up a little bit of paper towel that was left, so I replaced that. You can see it's a full roll now, and the kitchen's in good shape. So now all I have to do is take the cookies out, and that'll just leave me the cookie sheets to take care of for cleanup. Oh, and the spatula and the racks, of course, after the fact. Mr. Gingham is ready to do his job, and hopefully here we can get our cookies out in just a second. There we go. And our first batch are out. We'll put our next batch in to start cooking. And we'll put these out onto the cooling rack. Alrighty, well, we're finishing up here. I've got my 2 dozen cookies done, and I'm just cooking the last 3. And if you're counting, if you're that eagle-eyed, you'll notice there is 1 cookie missing. Well, that's because I was being a good boy, and I took a cup of coffee and a cookie to my wife, who's sitting over on the couch.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Enjoying her cookie. So, just a few seconds, we'll have the last 3 cookies out of the oven. Alright, the timer's just gone off for our last 3 cookies. So let's get them out. And there we go. I hope you've enjoyed today's recipe for peanut butter cookies a la Ian Weigeth. And as I say, there's that little secret ingredient. If you don't like that, you can leave it out and you'll still have very good cookies, but you just won't have that extra little in there. So remember to keep that secret under your hat. We wouldn't want it getting out on the internet or something and having everybody in the world making our kind of peanut butter cookies. So let's keep mum about it, keep it under our hats and in our own cookie jars. Alrighty. Hope you've enjoyed today's video and recipe, and have a great weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday for Tuesdays with the Pilgrim. Until then, take care, stay safe, and God bless.